Thank you for tuning in to LezView, where we talk about the most interesting topics in the LGBT community. Today we're going to be discussing the topic, the lack of unity within our community. So talk about that a little bit, Dana.
Thank you, Monica. I want to know, this is the year 2010, and we are prospering by leaps and bounds. We talk about there being a recession and other things going on with, in life, in the world, in the country. All countries are being subject to some type of financial hardship. However, we're still dealing with hardships that we've dealt with ever since the 50s, the 20s, the 30s, and so forth. Why is there such a lack of unity in our gay and lesbian community? Mm-hmm. We're already outcast in some scenarios or by some lifestyles, maybe even by some religions, but we find ourselves to be separated by race, preference, gender, and even within our own lesbian community. We have so many different titles, we're typecast, and we continue to keep ourselves separate from one another. So I just wanted to get a feel and get an understanding, a better understanding as to why it is that we continue to keep ourselves separated.
Well, I just also want to say that, it's kind of cool that we have this panel. Normally it's just the three of us up here, and so it's interesting that we're starting off this topic as we come back to you again, talking about unity in the community, and we're joined by so many different people around this table, from people who are clergy, from people who are activists, and others of the like in the community. So I think it's a really cool way for us to start, this topic, even with the panel that we have around us, right?
Absolutely.
So one thing that's interesting to me about unity in the community, it kind of goes into the questions in my head around, when we talk about unity, that means that there's a myth that there's not any unity. So then it makes me think about what are the things that actually divide us within our community. So that's like the first question that kind of comes to mind, like what are the actual divides that happen within our community? What are some of the divides that you think?
I think our division comes mostly within our structure of our home. We set boundaries. Mm-hmm. And if we don't set boundaries at home, then we don't have separation in our community. We say, well, you can't tell my friend that you're gay due to the fact you may no longer have the job that you retain right now. Mm-hmm. So we have a tendency of hiding, which we call in the closet. But we hide within ourselves because we don't want to lose the things that we grasp so hard for in the public. So
starting within the home, like
within the home.
In the home structure, you mean like family structure?
Yes, because when we tell our kids that we can't tell our neighbor that we are mm-hmm. gay or that we have different beliefs, mm-hmm. this is within the home, Or you bring a hate factor about the color, the race, so that's where your boundaries start, right there at home. And then it leaps out from the home mm-hmm. to your communities.
That's interesting.
I don't know, Monica. I'm seeing that a little differently, because if we're going to ask the question of unity in the community, mm-hmm. we need to backtrack and look at what is community.
Absolutely.
And when you look at just locally, mm-hmm. and you look at the majority of the people here in the South are from other communities. Absolutely. You have a lot of experiences, you have a lot of ideas that are not traditional to mm-hmm. the South, mm-hmm. whereas here it was very black and white. Absolutely. So as more minorities, more professional business people started coming, more people in the LGBTQ, and we keep adding on more letters because we need to separate ourselves from the other part.
There's like I now, it's like I.
So look at what is considered community. I think that we've lost that whole piece along the way, not just within the same sex or same gender loving community. Mm-hmm. I think as a whole we have lost what the idea of community is, because we don't show up in places unless we know someone else, or at least 2 or 3 other people that we know are going to be there. Right. We very seldomly just take the chance to just try something new, mm-hmm. regardless of who's going to be there, and take the opportunity to meet someone new.
Absolutely.
But then we get upset and say that there's nothing for us, but we don't really know what's for us because we never go outside of our own personal boxes.
So we have two questions. We have like two things on the table. We have like unity, like where are the different things that actually, kind of take us away from what unity is, and now we have this notion of community on the table. What exactly is community, and how do we define that? Particularly speaking about us who identify as LGBTQIJ, element of PQ.
XYZ
T. M. We should add M because my name is Monica.
Oh, okay.
I think that more so though, the question is because we are gay. I mean, we like party separate. Like the girls don't party with the boys. The boys, the whites don't party with the blacks. The Latinos aren't necessarily represented. The Asians aren't represented. And I know that we'll touch a little more on that later. But it's like, why are we so separate within our own community? They're promoters. They're promoters who sponsor events that they have their certain following. There are other promoters. We can't get our promoters to work together. We can't get, not even lesbian promoters to work together during Pride. It's like, this is Pride weekend. We're doing this taping right now. This is the only event that's going on at the time. However, there are about 3 other competing events tonight. So how come we're not all partying together? We all face the same issues. We are all gay, and outside of the word actually meaning happy and standing for someone who likes someone of the same sex, we are all the same people.
Right. Okay, so hold on, let me say this to you. I sit and I talk to the different various promoters in the community. Everybody's fighting for the almighty dollar. Who's going to get what, but the reality is there is plenty enough out there for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I think once we kind of get over that fear, because really it's a fear factor. We get over that fear, we learn to talk to one another, we learn to network with one another. We just got to break down those boundaries, and just know that at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
May I say something?
Absolutely. It's an open forum. You got to jump in, girl.
Jump in? Okay, all right. I know my question is just in hearing, there are divisions, no doubt. You know what I mean? And we are the same. I mean, I'm here, I'm gay. You know what I mean? Lesbian. And you're, I shouldn't have told you. I should have told you earlier. But anyway. But the question is, how can we bring people together? I mean, Raleigh's done it. Atlanta's doing it. Why can't we? Why can't we?
When you say bring together, what do you mean?
Okay, there seems to be a Latin American contingent, there's an African American contingent, white, Asian, and apparently people aren't working together, right? So you're saying, basically it's fear. So the question really is, what is it going to take? I mean, how can we get people together? To work together, because honestly, if I were a racist person, I would miss out on all the beauty that is here.
Absolutely.
I would miss out on what every person has to offer to me. You know what I mean? And so it just takes, just walking across that barrier and saying, you know what, that person is just as valid as I am. That person
but that's going to take a lot of work.
I do.
Why?
I can
it
answer
takes a lot of work. Okay,
I can answer that, and people may or may not believe this. If we take away the titles, people live so much under the title and the subtitle. If you remove those and just let it be something for the people, by the people, with the people, you will have the people. I believe.